The Cardano ecosystem is preparing itself for the upcoming bull run by getting some of the biggest Cardano native tokens or Cardano native assets listed on some of the most popular centralized exchanges. As a part of today's video, I want to highlight which projects those are and what benefits listings on centralized exchanges poses not only to those assets, but to the greater Cardano ecosystem. What's up, Beta Nation? Welcome to Dapp Central, your home for everything blockchain and crypto. I'm your host here for Reed. As a part of today's video, we're diving into everything Cardano. First things first, I want to highlight some recent exchange listings coming in from the Cornucopias game as well as Axo Trade. Now, in addition to that, I want to quickly touch on Genius Yield, which has just launched their DAO in collaboration with the Clarity platform. Now, last but not least, I want to dive into a brand new feature, which is a cart feature allowing for you to execute over 30 different actions in a single transaction, which has just been released by VyFi. In closing, the VyFi team does also have a pretty big update surrounding their treasury, which will now be coming online. That said, if it's your first time stopping by, my goal here is to provide you in the growing Cardano ecosystem with all of the latest news and highlights. If you do appreciate content like this, I would appreciate you if you could smash that thumbs up. And if you want to take things a step further in supporting Dapp Central, consider delegating with the official Dapp Central stake pool, which is stake pool ticker DAPP. Now, there's been so much talk in the last couple of weeks surrounding Cardano native tokens getting official listings on more and more centralized exchanges. Some people might say that centralized exchanges are not necessarily a good thing, but in eras like the bull market, when it comes to liquidity, accessibility, and just making things easier to trade, the centralized exchanges are definitely the way to go. They are much less hassle seeking, meaning that you don't have to go through the same amount of hurdles that you would in order to get on an actual blockchain and then to a DEX in order to understand how to actually get access to some of these tokens. So I want to take a quick minute here just to quickly highlight some of the positives when it comes to exchange listings, kicking things off here with increased liquidity. So keep in mind that we have a ton of DEXs here in the Cardano ecosystem, over 10 to 15 of them, which is great. But when a partner or when a project, partners up with a centralized exchange, they have to provide liquidity. And that liquidity basically goes towards market making, therefore making it easier for anybody outside of the ecosystem to get access to that token. Now, this also brings price stability, given that it's much easier to trade and with less slippage and price impact on a centralized exchange as opposed to a DEX, which might be thin on liquidity. Third is enhanced credibility. This gives projects a look of legitimacy. In most cases, it is warranted, right? So being able to say that you've been listed on something like Coinbase or Binance brings a ton of eyes to your platform. Now, conversely, we've seen a ton of meme coins getting listed on pretty big exchanges lately, which has made me question how legitimate these listings are and what are the actual motives behind some of these exchanges listing meme coins that have basically just popped out of thin air. One of them being the Slurf token, I believe it's from Solana, and the actual LP or the liquidity, I think it was $10 million, was burned by accident. And in addition to that, we actually saw more exchanges beginning to list this particular asset, given the fact that there was just a huge community looking to get access to this token. But what they basically said is because of the trading volume, they're going to be taking some of the fees from their platform and redistributing that to people that lost funds in that burnt LP. Now, what's interesting is that some of these meme coins have been put up on some of these exchanges and they've been deemed as being confident tokens to trade in. Whereas we've got projects, for example, like Project Noom, who's been building for ages here, providing a real actual product with real utility, which has been put at a moderate risk in terms of confidence from some of these exchanges. So it goes to say that the exchanges themselves obviously want the most trading volume, therefore they're incentivized to list some of the biggest tokens, even though they might not provide the most utility. Last but not least, with a centralized exchange listing, you get access to wider or more trading pairs. So for example, if a token from Cardano is listed on a centralized exchange, you may be able to actually swap for that token using either Bitcoin or even something like a fiat-backed stablecoin, for example, like USDC, or USDT, which other people outside of Cardano might hold instead of just trading natively against ADA, which is normally how the majority of pairs are traded on here in the growing ecosystem. So now that we've got the foundation laid, what I want to quickly do is jump into the first set of listings from the Cornucopias game. We saw them getting listed officially on Arbitrum. They're one of the earliest exchanges to actually list Cardano and Cardano native assets. So it's extremely positive to see this listing coming through. As it stands right now, we've got the adoption of the COPI/USDT trading pair, as well as the COPI/ADA trading pair. So again, depending on whether you have ADA or USDT, if you're on Arbitrum, you can now go ahead and quickly get access to the COPI token. Second, we've got the COPI token getting listed on the MEXC centralized exchange. Now here, we're going to be only available to trade COPI/USDC. And I want to take a moment here to just quickly highlight how big of a listing this particular one is. So jumping over into the top crypto exchanges here on CoinMarketCap, of course, you've got Binance, big dog, followed by Coinbase, number 2. I think we will see a flippening given the fact that Coinbase is custodying, or the custodian, I should say, of over 90% of the Bitcoin coming in from the spot ETFs, which were just approved about 2 months ago. So that aside, if I scroll down at number 11, we've got MEXC coming in with over 3 million weekly visits, with over 2,300 different types of markets or assets that can be traded, covering over 1,700 different tokens or different coins. In terms of fiat supported, they've got the European region covered, the Great British Pound, and the US dollar, in addition to 12 other fiat currencies that you can use to onboard. So as you can see there, this particular listing coming in from Cornucopias, a huge one here with one of the top exchanges when it comes to the centralized space. Now, to be fully fair, Arbitrum is listed towards the bottom. It is ranked number 33. However, it is an exchange listing nonetheless. As you can see, they've got a score of 5.7, not necessarily as high as MEXC. They do have about 1.6 million visits with 1,100 markets, again, supporting a lot of the major fiat currencies. So congrats to the entire Cornucopias game team. And in closing, I want to quickly highlight their latest COPI Cafe held by Rob and Josh. And they've been doing this for quite a bit of time now. I believe they're in the 80s in terms of episodes, but they're really going to be ramping up their marketing, their content creation or content creator relationships, and just spreading the word and getting it out there. Now, as a result, we've seen them actually be one of the first Cardano native assets that has broke past its all-time high. So if I jump back in here, the very last thing I want to quickly touch on is the fact that Cornucopias' token has come out from a bear market low of about a penny all the way to where it stands right now at about 8 or almost 9 cents. At its very peak, it hit about a 10x, trading at about 12 cents from that bottom low. So could this have some potential in the actual full-blown altcoin market? I definitely think so, but of course, make sure to do your due diligence and make sure to be careful when investing in these volatile assets. Now, I think that a lot of this is actually directly related to their listings on some of these centralized exchanges, again, bringing increased liquidity, price stability, enhanced credibility, and wider and more accessible trading pairs. So that'll do it there for updates surrounding the Cornucopias game. Next in the streak of listings, we have Axo Trade, a revolutionary trading platform, now aiming to get listed on 2 centralized exchanges. Now they're going to be working with XBTO, who works as a platform to assist in market making services, aka providing liquidity, as well as providing exchange listings. So this is interesting to see here. I'll leave the official link to this platform down below. Jumping over to their official website, they've got their own OTC, or I believe it's over-the-counter trading platform. They've also got some additional services listed towards the bottom here. Let's see here, which include integrated custody, market making, asset management, and family office services. So I believe the Axo team will be working with this team for their market making. And then we may see them actually being listed on their OTC platform or providing direct liquidity to the actual Axo protocol run directly on the Cardano blockchain. But take that with a grain of salt. That has not been confirmed. What has been confirmed, though, is an upcoming listing for the Axo token on Bitmart. So we don't have the official trading pairs. I would assume it'll be Axo/USDC or USDT, which are the biggest stablecoins and the most traded pairs on some of these centralized exchanges. Now, in addition, I want to quickly jump back over here and highlight that Bitmart is ranked at number 29, so slightly higher ranking than BitTrue, excuse me, with over 2.2 million views, over 1,000 tokens supported. Now, they only support USD and the European fiat here, or the euro, I should say, which is much less compared to BitTrue and Mexi, of course. However, it is an exchange listing nonetheless. So we are waiting for that second listing. Hopefully over the course of the next couple of days, I'll be able to provide you guys with an additional update breaking that down. That'll wrap it up there for updates surrounding Axo. The next piece I want to jump into will be surrounding the Genius Yield team. So I've got an upcoming interview, and I want to thank all of you for providing awesome questions to ask when it comes to their onboarding of the market maker bots for the USDM token. I'll be sitting down with Matthew Ploman and Dr. Lars to break down everything that relationship or partnership entails. Now, jumping into today's update, it states here that the team is thrilled to announce that the Genius Yield DAO, or Decentralized Autonomous Organization, powered by Clarity, is now up and running. This is a tool or a platform for governance, and it basically gives anybody who holds the GENS token the ability to have their voice heard. So what they've done in order to kind of kick things off here for Project Catalyst funding round number 12, which is just around the corner, is that they're allowing for anybody who holds GENS to connect their wallet to the DAO and then begin to put proposals as to what they would like to see coming in from the Genius Yield team. Once they've got a list of different proposals coming in from the community, they're going to truncate that down to a short list and then allow for their token holders to vote for which of the proposals the Genius Yield team should actually be pushing forward to. So if you want to find out more about this, I'll leave the link to their official DAO down below. Again, this breaks down the governance platform, the decentralization settings, the voting power, which again is directly tied to the amount of GENS tokens that you own. So you want to just quickly connect your wallet, and you can go ahead and connect the wallet that you're holding the GENS in or that you're staking the GENS in. Now, in addition, they did release a fully dedicated article breaking down their DAO and the fact that their first ever vote is live. And I want to just quickly highlight one thing here, which is their dedication to being open source. So not only have they gone ahead and made their smart contracts open source, in addition, they've also made their market maker bot code open source, as well as their smart order router. Keep in mind, they are in order book style DEX, not an AMM style DEX. Therefore, they don't use batchers. But if you want to contribute to the protocol in a permissionless way, you can go ahead and set up your own order router, as well as your own market maker bot to provide liquidity to the protocol. So not only have they done all those things already, they're now also putting the DAO into the community's hand, really aiming to fit that ethos, which is to be fully decentralized in how they operate. So huge shout out here to the team. In closing, I want to quickly highlight the token utility, which right now, the GENS token, which is $GENS, is the native governance token for the Genius Yield protocol. Again, you can now use that on the Clarity DAO. But then in addition to that, if you stake your GENS on their own staking platform, which I've covered in prior videos, you will be eligible to earn 20% of all of the fees coming into the DEX. Now, this is not just in ADA, it's in every single token pair that is traded on the platform. So that'll wrap it up for updates surrounding Genius Yield. As always, if you do enjoy these timely updates, I would appreciate you if you could smash that thumbs up. If it's your first time stopping by Dapp Central and you want more content like this, breaking down everything going on in Cardano, consider subscribing. And last but not least, if you have any questions for me, then leave them down below. As I mentioned earlier, if you really appreciate the channel and the content and the effort that's being put into keeping you guys updated, consider delegating with the official Dapp Central stake pool, which is stake pool ticker DAPP. Moving into the very last topic for today's video. This is a pretty big one coming in here from the VyFi team. They've now got their VyFi Treasury, which has been approved. Now, when it comes to crypto, the Treasury is basically going to be DAO-owned liquidity that can be put towards different proposals raised by governance token holders. In this case, this will be holders of the VyFi token, the governing token for the VyFi DEX. So it states here, the rules for our Treasury have officially been approved. The Treasury will be created and made public in the following week. Jumping into the fully dedicated article highlighting everything going on here with the Treasury, it states here that the Treasury has now been attributed or will be attributed 8% of the total supply of VyFi, or about 36 million of their native governance tokens. In terms of how this will be held, this is extremely important. The team will be incorporating a multi-sig wallet which requires 3 out of 5 signatures in favor in order to be approved for any withdrawals to be done from the Treasury. Again, a safety mechanism here, making sure that not a single wallet or a single person or single address has access to pull liquidity or funds directly from the Treasury. There must be a consensus by at least 3 members of the 5 holding the proper keys for the DAO Treasury. Scrolling down in terms of what will be actually eligible for proposals, number 1, the team will be requiring that the proposals have a definitive outcome for the expense, right? So you've got to be intentional with what it is that you want done. Number 2, you must have a finite time limit over which the funds will be spent. So you can't say, hey, I just want, a $10,000 and I'll figure things out, and I'm not going to provide a date as to when I'll actually be utilizing those $10,000. You've got to be extremely clear about that as well. Number 3, for a proposal to be eligible for funding, it must be related to the VyFi platform in some way or manner. So you can't use this for personal things. It's got to provide some sort of value or benefit directly back into VyFi. So these things are limited, but these things include but are not limited to technical developments, community incentives, research into new products, ecosystem developments, etc. Now, I want to quickly close off here by touching on the maximum proposal funding. So right now, no proposal can request more than 1% of the Treasury or 3% of the ADA containing the VyFi/ADA liquidity pool, and it's whichever is lower of those 2 options. Now, for the first year, the Treasury will contain 9 million VyFi, meaning that the maximum proposal that can be spent in terms of VyFi will be 90,000 VyFi. I took a little bit of time to do the math here. That equates to about $10,000 given the current price of VyFi. Keep in mind that as the price of VyFi fluctuates, that value will fluctuate here as well. Next, we've got banned requests or banned ideas that can be put forth in order to pull funds from the Treasury, which include direct payments into the bar, which is their revenue earning mechanisms. As you could imagine, that would kind of be like winding up the protocol, not necessarily a good thing to do when it comes to risk. Number 2, requests with no relevance to VyFi. Number 3, any request to convert more than 0.2% of the Treasury contents. And number 4, proposals that can be implemented without cost. Number 5, payments made directly to a particular person or given individual, with an exception for hired contractors. So I'll leave the link to this down below. It breaks everything down, talking about budgets, double jeopardy, the request process, etc. But it's really positive to see this coming out here from the VyFi team. The last thing I want to touch on is the brand new transaction cart feature. Have you ever been on something, for example, like Amazon, and you've gone ahead and kind of loaded up your basket with 5 to 6, 7, 8, 9 different items, only to go and check out and make a single payment? Well, a brand new feature coming in from VyFi doing a very similar thing has now gone live. This was just released on March 19th of 2024, in which you can now go ahead and provide or execute multiple actions on the DEX and store all of those and execute them in one single transaction. This is huge when it comes to saving on transaction fees, as well as the time that it would take you to actually execute all those transactions one by one. So it states here, multiple orders in one transactions now supports the ability to buy and sell tokens, harvest your farms, serving the bar, adding and removing liquidity, as well as lottery ticket purchases. So you could basically prep to execute all those actions and then actually send one single transaction containing all of the different parameters and all the different actions that you want to do, and have that all be done. And you only pay for one single transaction fee. Again, really interesting feature coming in from VyFi. In closing, I want to highlight here a transaction from Stephen Ward, the founder of VyFi himself, in which he had one transaction, which included the ability to add liquidity to 5, I believe, liquidity pools. He removed liquidity in 3 different actions. He made 20 different trades, 3 different zaps. He added some liquidity to their bar, and he purchased 1 lottery ticket, resulting in 33 total actions. And that was done or completed in 548 seconds, or about 9 minutes total. Now, keep in mind that these will be executed sequentially. I don't believe that they're executed simultaneously, but I think the team will be working to get that feature included moving forward in a future iteration of this particular release. Now, this took only 0.69 ADA as opposed to 6.6 ADA, therefore saving them about $3 to $4. So a huge feature here coming in from the official VyFi team. They did leave a link to that particular transaction down below. Make sure to follow Steven in the official VyFi account if you want to check that out on your own. That'll do it here for today's video, breaking down some of the biggest exchange listings when it comes to Cornucopias as well as Axo, followed by updates when it comes to Genius Yield and their DAO launch, the Treasury release for VyFi and their brand new transaction cart feature. If you enjoyed updates like these, I'd really appreciate if you could smash that thumbs up. If you found this to be helpful and you want more content like this, consider subscribing, to the channel here, which is Dapp Central. And last but not least, if you have any questions for me surrounding anything I've talked about, then make sure to go ahead and leave a comment down below. That said, and as always, I'll see you guys in the next video.